Friends, today's story begins in the summer of 1995, in a small mountain town where a hiker suddenly vanished under mysterious circumstances. The incident shattered the town's calm, and everyone was terrified, desperately searching for the reason behind his disappearance. Some believed he was killed by a dangerous virus spread through animals, known as Hill's fever. The local tribal people, however, called this strange illness the face of the wolf, and their ancient beliefs warned that it was a sign of an evil force hiding deep within the forest. During this tense time, Grady arrived in the same mountainous area for a hunting trip with his son Blake. Blake was mesmerized by the colorful forest and the singing birds. For him, everything felt new and thrilling, but Grady stayed alert, knowing that behind the forest's beauty lurked hidden dangers, repeatedly warning Blake to be careful. Suddenly, Blake noticed movement in the bushes. Grady aimed at a deer, but it turned and fled. When Grady looked back, Blake was gone. Panic struck. Meanwhile, Blake had moved ahead, spotting a strange shadow that vanished instantly. As he followed it, a terrifying animal growl echoed through the woods. Frightened, he stepped back just as Grady found him and pulled him away. The forest grew louder and more menacing. Sensing danger, Grady hid with Blake in a small wooden shelter, gun ready, sitting in silence. Heavy footsteps soon approached, and something massive began attacking the shelter, circling it until a deer appeared, and the creature lunged at it in a violent blur. Seeing the chance, Grady peeked outside and saw the deer lying dead on the ground. For a brief second, he also spotted the strange creature, which vanished at incredible speed into the dense forest. That night, Grady panicked and called his friend Dan, telling him he had seen the devil wolf. Dan didn't believe him at first, but Grady insisted he was telling the truth and urgently needed help because he feared for his son's safety. Nearby, Blake overheard the conversation, and the moment he heard the name the wolf, he panicked and ran out of the room. The story then jumps 30 years ahead. Blake is now grown, married to a woman named Charlotte, and they have a young daughter, Ginger. One evening, a courier delivers keys and a letter stating that the state of Oregon has officially declared Grady dead after years of being missing. Blake expected this day, yet the news breaks him emotionally, filling him with regret over his distance from his father. The next day, he meets Charlotte and says he needs to prioritize family. He suggests a trip to Oregon to collect his father's belongings and spend time together. Charlotte agrees, unaware of the terrifying path ahead. During the drive, they get lost, lose network signal, and then Ginger spots someone standing near an old shelter in the distance. Hearing this, Blake rolled down the window and looked carefully, realizing the man was walking toward them with a gun. As he came closer, Blake recognized him. It was Derek, the son of his father, Grady's friend Dan, and Blake's childhood friend. Blake asked why so few people lived in the area now, and which road led to his father's old farm. Derek explained that most people had left, and the old road to Grady's farm had been closed long ago, so he decided to help and climbed into their truck. As the sun began to set, the forest grew eerily quiet. To lighten the mood, Derek asked about Blake's city life, but before Blake could answer, a massive wolf-like creature suddenly jumped onto the road. Blake swerved to avoid it, but the truck skidded and crashed into a deep ditch. When Blake regained consciousness, Charlotte and Ginger were safe, and Derek was alive but terrified. As growls echoed, the creature attacked, shattering the window and injuring Blake before dragging Derek into the dark forest. Blake escaped with his family, ran to Grady's house, locked themselves inside, powered the generator, and decided to wait until morning, knowing the night outside was deadly. Charlotte was shaken by the attack and, in a trembling voice, asked Blake what that thing on the road really was. Taking a deep breath, Blake said it wasn't a normal animal. It was a strange creature that walked on two legs like a human, but looked like a wolf. As he explained, he pushed a heavy cabinet against the door to block it. He then turned on his father's old radio to call for help, but only static answered. No one heard them. Soon, Blake noticed a strange smell inside the house and followed it to another room where piles of meat were stored. Out of curiosity, he tasted a small piece, but sharp pain shot through his jaw and a tooth suddenly fell out. Charlotte panicked, sat him down, and rolled up his sleeve to reveal a deep wound. She cleaned and bandaged it, though Blake blamed broken glass from the crash. Charlotte disagreed. The wound looked too deep, caused by something powerful. As Blake tried to reinforce the door, his hands shook, his breathing quickened, and sweat poured. Heavy footsteps echoed upstairs. Though terrified, he went up, found a giant spider, grew dizzy, and rushed back down, only for the growls to return as Blake's behavior began to turn disturbingly animal-like, terrifying Charlotte even more. Suddenly, the creature outside grabbed Blake's leg through the small door and began dragging him out, making him scream in pain. Gathering courage, Charlotte grabbed a hammer and smashed the creature's hand, forcing it to retreat, but Blake collapsed unconscious. When he woke up, he felt extremely weak, yet panic drove him to call out for his family. Hearing noises from the basement, he went down to find Ginger asleep and Charlotte desperately calling for help on the old radio, but only static answered. Furious and hopeless, Charlotte slammed the radio down. Blake's condition worsened, his breathing turned rough, his speech failed, and fear overwhelmed Charlotte as she struggled to help him. His state deteriorated so badly that he lost control, and she carried him upstairs, laying him on the bed, praying morning would save them. Outside, the terrifying presence still circled the house. Blake's hair began falling out, his words fading, so Charlotte gave him pen and paper. With great effort, he wrote one word, "Dying." Her heart shattered, yet she tried to comfort him. A strange blue glow filled his eyes, his senses faded, and when he saw blood on Ginger's hand, terror hit him. Charlotte sent Ginger away and removed Blake's bandage, revealing skin tearing and something changing beneath. Trembling, she watched as Blake scratched himself with sharp nails and bit into his wound, teeth breaking with every bite. Frozen in horror, Charlotte saw hunger replace pain in his eyes before he turned and walked away, leaving her too shaken to follow. After that, Charlotte looked out the window and spotted Grady's old car parked outside. A spark of hope rose in her. Maybe they could escape. Acting fast, she ran to the basement, grabbed the keys and a spare battery, then took a knife from the kitchen to protect herself and the children. She rushed Blake and Ginger to the car, helping the barely conscious Blake into the back seat. As Ginger climbed in, a terrifying howl echoed, tightening their fear, but Charlotte didn't give up. She connected the battery to the engine, and after several tries, the car finally started. Just as hope returned, the wolf-like creature leapt onto the car, smashing the windshield and reaching for Charlotte. She fought it off with the knife, buying enough time for them to escape and run. The creature chased them onto a greenhouse roof. Blake pulled the ladder down, but the creature broke inside, shaking the structure and clawing upward. Ginger slipped, but her parents saved her. Realizing the danger and feeling the change inside him, Blake growled, signaled Charlotte and Ginger to run, then jumped down, drawing the creature into the forest. They fled home only to see Blake return, collapsing inside as his body rapidly transformed, blue light blazing in his eyes until he suddenly bent over and blood poured from his mouth. At that moment, Blake's fingernails began snapping off in pain, making Ginger scream as Charlotte quickly pulled her back. Blake let out a terrifying roar and leaped onto the table, now looking completely like a wild animal. When his eyes met Charlotte's, a trace of humanity briefly returned. Fighting it, he staggered toward the door, but as it opened, the wolf-like creature attacked, slamming him to the ground and repeatedly mauling him. Gathering courage, Charlotte rushed in and stabbed the creature in the back. It roared in pain and turned towards Charlotte and Ginger, forcing Charlotte to hide Ginger in another room. Blake, now weak, kept fighting until he collapsed unconscious. The creature dragged his body down the hallway, but Charlotte chose courage over fear, struck it with a fire poker, and Blake summoned his last strength, leaping onto the beast and biting its neck until it died. In victory, Blake noticed a familiar tattoo and realized the creature was his missing father, Grady, now a Wolfman. Heartbroken, Blake's transformation reached its peak as he fled outside, fully becoming a Wolfman. Inside, the power went out, and Charlotte saw her husband outside in monstrous form. Fearing for Ginger, she attacked him and fled to the barn. Blake followed, breaking in until a bear trap caught his leg. In agony, he bit it off and continued the hunt. In the forest, Charlotte and Ginger found Derek's severed hand and his gun, hid in a shelter and waited. When Blake climbed up, sorrow filled his eyes as if he wanted his pain to end. In terror and grief, Charlotte pulled the trigger, killing him. At dawn, Charlotte and Ginger stood on a hill overlooking Blake's favorite valley, the wind calm, their hearts forever marked by that night. If you like the explanation, please like, comment, and subscribe for more unique stories.